Character fusions. Very cool, right? Do you know what's even more cool? Make them completely randomized. The idea is to take these 12 characters and throw them into an online roulette, roll it 2 times to get a pair of characters and merge them. Well, I did it 3 times, and one of these 3 is a wild one. So, for the first fusion, I spun that thing and Raiden from Metal Gear Rising came out. Then I did it again to get the other, and San the Princess Mononoke was the one to get the fusion. I have to say that this fusion is kinda complicated, because we have a man in a futuristic metallic suit with a big black sword, and then in the other side we have a primal girl that has been raised by wolves. In fact, I think we can agree that they are extreme opposites. So, let's think. If I show you a picture of both, what's the biggest difference between them? I would say the disparity of technology. I mean, one looks like a damn cyborg and the other is a cave woman. So, there's different approach that I can take to merge that. And I chose to emulate the exoskeleton from Raiden and transform it into a more primal armor. So it's not futuristic at all, but still maintaining the aesthetic of the character. And I'm not joking when I say that this decision is probably 50% of the job done. As you can see, I didn't apply this armor in all the body. I left the torso without it, because I wanted to add Sans clothes. And the weapon is like the weapon of Raiden, but with the aesthetic of Princess Mononoke. So we don't break the whole ecosystem of the design. Now, the hardest thing to do here for me was the head, because in both characters there's a lot going on in the head, so it's easy to saturate it. So I opted to lower the quantity of things but preserving the general recognizable shapes. And those shapes are the face painting and the headband of San, and in the side of Raiden we have the band that covers the eye, the whole robotical thing in the side of the jaw, which I lowered the detail and made more simple, and also we have the chin with the teeth replaced, that in the fusion I changed it for paint that follows the other paint in the face, so everything stays consistent. The face of the color was not a big deal. Basically I had to follow their color palettes without making too many changes, because thankfully their colors don't disturb each other and don't collapse. That's due to Raiden's desaturated, almost monochromatic colors. And here you have the final drawing, and I have to say that I think it is very cool. And these two, even though they have a lot of differences, have a similar dangerous energy that combines very well. For the next one, I went back to the roulette, and the one that got chosen was Fiona Ogre mode. Then I spun it again to see who would get the fusion, and the lucky one was Jett from Valorant. Well, this is an interesting one, because they are also very different, but thankfully they are not complicated to fuse. And I know that maybe sounds crazy, but hear me out. Starting with the body type, here you can do 3 things. Use Jett body type but with Fiona's features, use Fiona body type but with Jett features, or make a middle ground in everything. And well, I opted for the first choice, making the tall athletic body of Jett but with the skin tone, the neck and the face of Fiona. But I thinned the neck and I made a more angular face so it has more coherence. Then I opted on using Jett hair because it's not that distant from Fiona's hair shape, and I didn't know if the white of the hair would look good, so I wanted to experiment and try it out. To compensate a little, I added the little diadem that Fiona has. The next thing to talk about is the outfit, and this was fairly easy thanks to Fiona's simple dress, because it doesn't matter what the other character has, as long as you show a good part of this green dress, you already have the job done. Also with the fact that Jett, with the type of clothes that has a very recognizable part. That is the angular jacket with the belt, and has a zone that doesn't steal the attention, that are the pants. Then I had to put the jacket with the belts on top of the dress, add the fingerless gloves and shoes, and voila! You have a very decent and consistent fuse design. Now the colors here were also easy, not making anything new and maintaining the colors for each part, thanks the fact that the blue and green goes well with each other. But I had to do some adjustments on the tonality, so it's more unified, by pulling the greens towards the blue and the blues towards the green, and pulling you to the like and subscribe button. So yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe if you are liking the video. And here you have the final result. And I think it is good, well executed, but nothing special. Finally, for the last fusion, I went back on the roulette and the character that came out was Magikarp. Then I rolled it one last time and the one that came out was Dante from Devil May Cry. Yes, this is real. And well, here I was left with two options. Either make Dante with a Magikarp themed jacket with Magikarp themed pistols, like some lazy skin for the video game that you get the code from logging in on Burger King or something like that, or have some balls and make a completely cursed actual fusion with these two. And you know what? My grandma didn't raise a bitch, so I knew what I wanted to do. The problem was that I didn't know how I was going to do it. And I'm not joking when I say that I stayed in front of the blank canvas for 15 minutes before starting recording and drawing, because I needed to think about how I was going to execute this. So I decided to start with the pose, which would be a very standard pose, nothing special. Then sketching the clothes, and here I was following the main design of Dante's clothes, but adding some shapes and marks that are from Magikarp. Like in the shoulders, we have Magikarp dorsal fin, or some scales on the middle of the jacket. This way we start connecting these both characters. Then a thing that was very simple but I really liked is the pistols. They are water pistols that represent Splash, a classic Magikarp move. Also on the belt and the boots I added the Pokeball symbol, because if you don't have enough material for your character, you can add things that are very attached to him, like in this case a Pokeball for a Pokemon. And here we have an interesting part. The head, as you can see, is completely cursed, and I love it. It's interesting because I actually left the head for the last thing to design, because I wanted to give myself time to think while working on the body, and I have to say that that worked a lot. The first thing is something that a lot of people will not see, but is very important: the type of head. And if we see Dante from Devil May Cry 5, that is the one that I have as reference, he has a squared-shaped head with a strong chin, and those were the only features that I could preserve. But they work very well. Obviously I had to make the head a little round because Magikarp is round. Other things that are from Magikarp are those eyes, lips, fins, you get the idea. Basically making the whole Magikarp but in the frame of the head, changing some things according to the aesthetic of the character and resembling the anatomy of the face, like using the fins for ears, or that bumped line before the scales that serve as a hairline. Then for the colors I had to find a middle ground between the brightness of the Magikarp and the dark colors of Dante, so I found a saturated middle light colors that combine very well. And as you can see, Dante originally has a cold palette of colors, but I changed mine to a warm one, and after shading it and give some highlights to the skin to give that wet shininess of a fish, I ended up with this, which I think is brilliant. I love it. And yes, I know that the right hand is too big and also I forgot the sword, but you forgive me, right? Well, out of all the three, which one do you like more? Tell me in the comments. For me it's the last one. And by the way, talking about comments, Raiden and Dante, and some more that didn't came out in the roulette were recommended by a comment. So don't forget that if you want me to add some characters that you like, or you want me to do some type of video, write it down and I will save it for future videos. Well, hope you enjoyed the video and a hug to everyone. Bye!